Welcome back to Wild Strawberry Hill Gardeners. It has been a while since my last video, but we've been busy with the garden and the mower situation and work and general home things, but just wanted to do a quick update for everyone, show you some of the things that a Florida gardener is learning moving to the cold north and trying to grow vegetables. Usually people do the opposite. They move from up north, go to Florida, and make a lot of mistakes in Florida trying to grow things in the summer, which you can't, but I'm doing the opposite. So I'm learning to grow things in the summer when we couldn't before in Florida. And if you saw my video a few weeks ago about moving my seedlings out to harden off because there were mice getting into the house and eating them, and I figured they were safer outside, here's my update. So, lesson learned. A lot of northerners learn quickly on that full sun in the north is not the same as full sun in Florida, and just because a plant can be planted out in full sun like this up here does not mean it can be planted in full sun in Florida, because it's a very different sun. And what I have learned is 40 degrees up north is very different from 40 degrees in Florida when it comes to seedlings. So my seedlings, peppers, tomatoes, peppers, tomatoes, and over here, cucumbers obviously did not survive their first weekend that I put them out to harden off. It was cloudy, so the sun should not have been a problem. They had 2 days of clouds before they started to see sun, so it was a nice gradual hardening off where sun is concerned, but it got down to 40 that weekend, and it stayed 40 for many hours. And while I've never had a problem with 40 in Florida, because we usually grow our tomatoes in the winter and we still get into the 40s and sometimes the 30s, 40 was a problem here. It did kill my seedlings. And what I think the problem was 40 is just too much for tiny little baby seedlings. And by the time we would get to 40 in Florida in the winter, our tomatoes would already be blooming and fruiting, and they could sustain that kind of temperature. And in Florida, when it's in the 40s, it's just for a couple hours, whereas here it was for almost an entire day. So yeah, they pretty much died from those 40-degree temperatures. That would have never been a problem in Florida, and wouldn't be a problem if I had a greenhouse by now, but we don't have one yet. But yeah, they're done. They're toast. Interestingly enough, these tomatoes, which these are my Florida tomatoes that I'm growing from seeds I collected in Florida for many generations, they're resprouting. So the initial seedlings have died off, except for some of these survivors here, which are my heirloom tomatoes. The heirlooms survived the best. But my grape tomatoes and my heirlooms are resprouting. I don't know if these are seeds that didn't sprout before, or if they're resprouting from the same root system that the other leaves had come from. I don't know. But, I mean, it's super late in the season to have tomatoes this small. But, yeah, we'll see what happens with these guys. It would be probably a couple months before I would plant them, and by then it would be getting close to cold weather again, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm restarting a bunch of other seeds. Because it's so late, I did not restart pepper and tomato seeds. We'll see what happens with those, but I did buy some pepper and tomato plants at a farm stand. I'll show you some of the garden. But yeah, I had to do something, and I would have never done in Florida, and buy plants. So here's some of the plants we already have in the ground: broccoli, peas, leeks that are doing pretty well. Bean plants, there's one there that has sprouted, but most of the beans that I planted have not sprouted yet, or they did and immediately got eaten by slugs. Here's one of the tomato plants I purchased. And the good thing about living up here is every small town has at least one little farm market that sells tomato or all kinds of vegetable transplants at this time of year. 6-packs for anywhere from $3 to $5 for a 6-pack of really healthy plants that are ready to go in the ground. So I've been very fortunate that every 5 miles there's another stand where I can buy some plants. So we got peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers at the stands. And these ones are looking pretty healthy. Planted them in the ground a week or two ago, and they're doing really well. So I'm very thankful and fortunate that there are so many places up here where you can buy transplants. The only downside is they don't grow a whole lot of interesting varieties. You can find a good variety of tomatoes and maybe peppers, but if you're looking for like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, melons and squashes don't count on a very good variety. They'll have like one, maybe two varieties of those plants. Otherwise, if you want to grow interesting varieties, you do need to start seeds on your own. That's the only unfortunate part about that. So over here is our pepper bed that has started, and I have put some beans in there as well, and they are sprouting. And the peppers are looking pretty okay. This is my potato bed. I will say I've had good luck at least sprouting the potatoes. We'll see if they survive long term, if I can keep them safe from disease and pests. Late blight is always a disease to watch out for. But so far, I've got some potatoes, some endives, and yeah, I've learned my lesson. Next year I will not put out tomato and pepper seedlings when it's 40 degrees out. They'll stay in the house, or we'll hopefully have a greenhouse by then. Brassicas, these are bok choy plants that I direct seeded in the ground, and they're doing so great. Brassicas don't mind the cooler weather. They're fine with 40s and even 30s, so they're doing okay. Your brassicas, your onions, and your lettuce plants all can go directly in the ground even when there's still cold weather. So here's some lettuce seedlings, direct seeded, looking good. My little baby asparagus plants back there. Bed with tomatoes, tomato plants that I bought at the farm stand, and basil plants that I bought at the farm stand. Because my basil plants also tanked. They're also dead. And I'm not restarting them. And then more, I'm obviously hedging my bets, so I've got tomatoes and peppers both in beds with a soil mix we made and straight in the ground, because we can do that here. Can't do that in Florida where we have nematodes, but down here I've got tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squash plants straight in the ground. Would have never even dreamed of doing that in Florida because they would have been so killed by nematodes. But that's our adventure with growing plants in the north coming from Florida. Those are my lessons learned. And if you want to know what's going on with the mower, that'll be another video coming up, but we did get that situation fixed and I'll share that with you shortly. I'll also have another video telling you about these beautiful blooming trees that you're seeing in this video. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Happy gardening.